Okay, I'd
Great.
like to introduce CJ Overly, who's the Senior Project Manager Development for BXP Life Sciences. He's going to share with us about the Shady Grove Innovation District.
Great. Thank
Over
you.
to you, CJ.
Great. Thank you, Margie. So for today's presentation, I thought we would briefly talk about who is BXP and then get into our long-term vision for the site, the near-term phase 1 plans, and then talk briefly about process and schedule. And then I'd be happy to take any questions. So BXP is the largest owner, operator, developer of premier workplaces in the US. We operate in 6 coastal markets around the country. We really focus on placemaking and really the top tier products in each of these markets. We do office space, life science space, which will be pertinent for today, as well as residential. In this market, in recent years, we've done a number of very large projects, some of which you might be familiar with, including the recently completed Marriott headquarters. But we were also involved for almost a decade on the NIH campus as their partner developing their clinical research center. We've done the Science and Engineering Hall for GW, as well as other private sector high-tech spaces. And so we've got experience locally as well as nationally in the types of product that we'll be bringing to the Innovation District. In terms of life sciences, we have just shy of 12 million square feet in our portfolio. Some of that is delivered and operational, some is under construction, and about half is in the pipeline for future development in the years to come, including our project at Shady Grove that we're going to talk about today. And really that growth is in service of existing and growing tenant ecosystem of tenants that we have in various regions across the country, Boston being our largest for life science, followed by San Francisco, and now here in the Rockville, Maryland area. And so you see some of those listed on the bottom. And then a couple of projects in other regions that we have underway, many of which are now fully leased to one or more tenants. But these are sort of a smattering of some of the life science projects that we have going in other parts of the country. Turning our attention here to Shady Grove, I think the first question that many people ask is, what got us interested in expanding our life science business to this region? This won't be a surprise probably to anybody on this call, but the biohealth capital region, and specifically the I-270 corridor, and specifically Shady Grove, is really the epicenter of one of the top 3 or 4 life science clusters in the country. This is thanks to a number of factors, not the least of which is the large federal lab presence here. But it's a fact that I think often goes underappreciated outside of our region. And that's something that I know this group and lots of other groups are working very hard to enhance and improve that awareness of this area. Our project is located in Rockville, kind of right in the heart of the I-270 corridor, which is really the epicenter for all things life science in the broader National Capital Region. One of the things I think is super interesting, especially as companies really focus on their ESG goals and really put an emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion, is the fact that our three biggest clusters in the Gaithersburg, Rockville, and Germantown areas are in the top 10 most diverse cities in the country, as regularly ranked by WalletHub. I think that's an awesome feature and one that we should all celebrate and really lean into. And I think it offers a unique advantage to our region as employers think about how to incorporate a diverse workforce going forward. And then our project is located right on Shady Grove Road between Chokecherry and Gaither Roads, and we'll look at that in a minute on another plan. But we really selected this location and we're excited about this location because it really is in the heart of this dynamic Shady Grove cluster where there are many, many, many different life science companies. And this is just a small, smattering of those shown here on the screen. And then another factor that really made this an attractive site was the amenity and transit options. A lot of the existing product for life sciences in our market is very much a suburban form factor with a drive to location. For us, this innovation district, in addition to offering scale, offered walkability to a variety of different amenities that future employees can use during the day, and also provided better transit options, including the new BRT line. Diving into that a bit more specifically, we will have a new bus transit stop right at the entry of our site on the corner of Shady Grove and Chokecherry Roads that will connect us into the metro station with just 2 stops, and then take us all the way out to the universities at Shady Grove on the other end. And so we're really excited about this new service that's going to come online a little over a year from now. And the headways that are being proposed for the levels of service, I think, are really perhaps what's most exciting for me about this. Maybe a little nerdy, but just the frequency of service is going to, I think, really encourage usage. And that's something that we feel very strongly about in terms of what we hope future residents and employees of the district will choose to take advantage of. So our site location, again, specifically, is this yellow outlined area, 31 acres, bounded by Chokecherry, Gaither, Shady Grove, and the King Farm community. And phase 1, which we'll talk about also, is the lower sort of 35 or 40% of the site right along Chokecherry Road. So our long-term vision for the site is to really create a buzzing community of innovators. We spent a lot of time as we were developing the concept and the strategy and the vision for this project, visiting other innovation centers in places like University City in Philadelphia, the Research Triangle Park, and Wake Forest Innovation Districts in North Carolina, as well as talking to others across the country, including on the West Coast, about what are really the key ingredients that go into making an innovation district. And I could probably spend the next hour going into all of that, but obviously that's not the focus of our call this afternoon. But suffice it to say, we thought really long and hard about what those key ingredients needed to be, and which of those ingredients we could control and really incorporate into this site. And those obviously are the physical environment, right? The placemaking capabilities. So building a mixed use life science focused district is really the central thrust of the project. When it's fully built out, we expect it will include about 1.3 million square feet of life science uses across as many as 9 buildings, as well as a 315 to 330 unit apartment building. All of that will be structure parked in the ultimate condition, and really with an emphasis on trying to utilize that mass transit option more and more going forward, as it is really a climate imperative to do so. We have a 2-acre central park that's planned and plaza space, as well as a landscaped and activated network of pedestrian paths, which we'll talk a little bit about. And so in total, more than 25% of the space will be open, activated outdoor space. So what might that look like? Well, this is an aerial image of the site today, kind of taken from this intersection of Shady Grove Road and Chokecherry Road. And we've prepared an artist rendering here of one concept for what that might look like at full build out. And so what you see here on the screen are a series of 9 lab buildings spread throughout the site, served by 3 separate structured parking garages. And then on the corner here, closest to the existing residential, is our residential building, which has its own dedicated garage parking built within it. Some other things that I mentioned, there's the entry plaza here at the corner with the future bus stop. There's the central plaza and park here at the middle of the site. And then kind of woven throughout and between these buildings is that activated series of pedestrian paths that connects out to Gaither in this direction, Chokecherry out to the south in this direction, and then out to the corners, both at the transit plaza and then up at the future plaza at this corner. So really a fully integrated site in terms of connectivity for multimodal transit throughout the site. So that's the big vision. and it will certainly take many years to realize that. This ultimate timing and schedule is subject to approvals and market forces and all sorts of things, but suffice it to say, it will take a lot of time to realize that vision. But we are going to start with this first phase, which we're really excited about, and that's really going to be the first 3 blocks of this new district, that sort of white dotted line I showed earlier. That will include the first lab building of about 150,000 square feet on 5 stories with a surface lot to service that building in the near term. The one and only planned apartment building for now is going to be as part of this first phase with, as I said, its own structured parking, and that will have 15% affordable units included in it. There'll be the plaza serving that bus rapid transit line, and then the partial extension of the shared use path along Shady Grove Road that will ultimately tie all the way through to Gaither. And so again, a rendering of what that might look like, starting with the current condition on the site today, and then thinking about that future phase 1 with the rest of the site remaining as is. And so here you can see a little more clearly the beginnings of the road network, where we've got a new road coming through here on this side, and one through here on this side, connecting into an east-west road that comes through the site in this direction. So when it's fully built out, there will essentially be a 9-block city grid that will form, tying together Shady Grove, Chokecherry, and Gaither roads. There will be no through traffic into the King Farm community directly. And so in plan, what that looks like, this is a kind of older, highly schematic plan, but you can see the residential building here, the future Progress, Discovery, and Pioneer Streets, the surface lot, the lab building and entry plaza. This will be the site of the future garage and future lab buildings that were shown in the long-term vision. And there'll be a stormwater pond tucked in the back corner here next to the existing forest conservation easement to serve not just phase 1, but also help with stormwater management for the whole rest of the entire site. And so lastly, I just wanted to touch on the process and schedule. We are pursuing our level 2 site plan, and our goal is to complete that by the end of the year. We've made our first pre-application submission that's under review by the city staff currently. And we've got our site plan submission scheduled to occur in the middle of June. We will have a post-application community meeting and then the planning commission hearing. Those will be opportunities for community input. And then the goal being at that hearing in December that we get approval of our site plan so we can continue with final engineering and then have a potential construction start as early as sort of the middle of next year. It's kind of when we think that's the earliest that's likely to occur. So I know I went through that really quickly, but appreciate your time, and I'm happy to take any questions that you have.
Questions, folks? Not hearing any yet. I will